PK in the universe, and I am back again. And today I'm here to talk about being pigeonholed. What does it mean to be pigeonholed? More specifically, I'm going to be talking about YouTube pigeonholed. You know, being a YouTuber and being pigeonholed into a specific kind of content. You know, it could be a lot of different things. There's a lot of different ways to get views, likes, subscribes, and all that stuff from YouTube. And it's based on the type of content you make. I happen to be a retro gaming enthusiast. And I also happen to be part of another subgenre of retro gamers called Evercade enthusiasts. I have an Evercade and an Evercade VS, and I talk a lot about Evercade on this channel. The Evercade community has been a big part of why this channel has been so successful over the last year. I used to be a YouTube content creator who got maybe 40 to 50 subscribers every year. And now I've been getting 40 subscribers a month on this channel. I went from having less than 600 subscribers to now over 1,000. And I've gotten about 400 of those subscribers in the last year. And the Evercade community played a big part in that. I think I've gotten over 25,000 some views just from Evercade videos in general. But I also, you know, again, I'm a retro gaming enthusiast, so I'm a retro gaming YouTuber. This channel has always been about retro games. I have not really talked a lot about, quote, modern games or games with modern sensibilities. You know, I've talked about, you know, indie games, which a lot of indie games are, you know, retro adjacent or are retro literally in every sense because they are a callback to a previous time, you know, like 8-bit style graphics, 16-bit, you know, less complicated graphics, not 3D, you know, games, you know, that are modern and played on and designed for modern systems that could look like they played on a system from previous generations. So retro gaming, Evercade, that's me, that's my channel. But am I pigeonholed? Am I pigeonholed? Is that the only thing I can do? And I think the answer is no. And the answer is no because there's so much more we can all do. Even if you're a channel like me, let's say you're a YouTuber who just has only made Evercade stuff or has only made retro gaming stuff, you could totally pivot to different things. And there's a lot of examples of people who have done this. There's a lot of examples of people who have done this. And I want to talk a little bit about that. First up, let's talk about RGT85. RGT85 used to be known as Retro GameTube or GameTuber 85. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I remember when Sean had like 900 subscribers. I remember he submitted a video to like Gamester 81's like forum or whatever way back in the day. And yeah, he focused on retro gaming. He was the editor of Nintendo Enthusiast, I believe, at the time when he started his YouTube channel. And look at some of his early videos. They were pretty rough, you know, and he focused a lot on retro gaming. But then he evolved. He shifted beyond that. I remember when he made the Coleco Chameleon, you know, stuff, and he covered that. And there was a lot of stuff about that back then. I covered the Coleco Chameleon too back in the day. And then when the Nintendo Switch came out, he started doing like eShop videos, you know, eShop sales videos, because he saw there was a market for it. He saw that there were people who wanted to know, you know, if eShop games were on sale. So he did those type of videos. He does a lot of gaming news videos. He's built his entire platform on doing that. He just wasn't stuck with retro gaming forever. He evolved beyond it. Another good example is a YouTuber by the name of Pushing Up Roses. I remember Pushing Up Roses. She started her channel doing a lot of retro gaming stuff, a lot of retro PC gaming stuff, which is pretty niche. And to be a woman gamer who also was playing PC games was kind of uncommon, like classic PC games. And she cultivated a pretty big audience. But did she stay doing that forever? Now she's doing like videos on Murder, She Wrote and the Goosebumps TV show and Golden Girls and stuff like that. She cultivated a big enough audience that she could shift to doing other things that were more interesting to her, that were, you know, maybe she's more nostalgic for, you know, but other people apparently are nostalgic for those shows too, because obviously there's people who keep watching, you know. And then some other channels, you know, there are channels that started out just doing retro and went beyond retro. There's some channels like look at Metal Jesus Rocks. Metal Jesus Rocks, some people have called like the king of retro. Like recently I saw a tweet from Retro Ralph, you know, and he talked about, is there a ceiling for retro gaming? You know, because Metal Jesus has 900,000 subscribers and he has a big YouTube channel. But I would argue that Scott the Woz actually is the king of retro because he has nearly 2 million subscribers, obviously, and still talks about retro gaming. I look at my own channel too. It wasn't just Evercade stuff. You know, I made a video about the Atari VCS. I could have continued to make more Atari VCS videos. Years ago, I made a video on VHS collecting. I could have continued to do more types of videos like that. But the thing about YouTube is YouTube has to be bearable. Like, you can't just keep making videos of stuff if you don't actually enjoy making videos of it, even if it does really well on your channel. Because if you do, people are going to see right through it. They're going to see that you're a fake and that you don't really care about this stuff. They'll see it. You can fake it only for so long. You have to talk about things you're passionate about. You know, I'm passionate about Evercade stuff, and obviously I'm passionate about retro gaming, so I talk about those things on my channel. I've talked a lot about the Wii U in the past, and I do want to get back into talking about the Wii U, but right now there's just not much to talk about. I mean, there's the Silver Falls games that are coming out and stuff like that, but I don't really have much to say about those at the moment. But I think you are not pigeonholed just because you start out making one type of content. You can experiment with your channel, especially really early on. You know, I looked at my channel, and I thought maybe the only reason people watch this channel is because of the Evercade stuff. But then I looked at who are the people my audience are watching. Because how YouTube recommends your videos is based on people's search history. What are they searching for? If they're searching for Evercade, maybe my video gets recommended to them. If they're searching for retro gaming, maybe also. But more likely Evercade stuff is more likely to, cultivate because I make more consistent Evercade stuff. So if, let's say, you're an all Evercade channel and you decide to make some retro gaming content, you can't expect YouTube to push that stuff immediately. It might take a little while. You have to be consistent. You can't just do a one-off video and think, oh man, this is going to get as many views as Evercade, because Evercade is an incredibly underserved niche. It's a niche in the retro gaming community. It's a niche of a niche, because retro gaming is pretty niche. I mean, yes, there's millions of people who like it, but the gaming space is humongous. Video games are like more popular than movies now and make more money than movies. Gaming is everywhere. Like half of all people play video games of some kind. So, when you're in a part of a niche, that's who's going to be looking at your content. But you can expand beyond that. Look at Dreamcast Guy. Can you imagine if Dreamcast Guy still only talked about Dreamcast? I don't know. Did he talk about Dreamcast? I never even saw any of Dreamcast Guy's Dreamcast videos. I've always known him as that guy who does like gaming news and talks about more modern games. Or like Wood from Beat 'em Ups. Imagine if he had only talked about Nintendo stuff, had only talked about retro gaming stuff and Wii U. He actually had a lot of Wii U videos back in the day when nobody cared about Wii U. All these content creators, shifted. They pivoted to other things. But the important thing is you can't pivot too far away typically. It's got to be something that's adjacent, and it's easier to pivot off to something else even after that. And it's important to not forget your audience, because if you forget the audience who made you, well, those will end up being dead subscribers. They'll all of a sudden be like, oh, I only came to PK for Evercade. He doesn't make Evercade videos anymore. Then people forget they even subscribe to me. So then I have somebody who's a subscriber who doesn't even watch my content. And the goal is to have, repeat customers, not just getting your views simply from, random people or random recommendations. You want people to keep coming back to your videos, which is totally logical. That's the part of the point of making YouTube videos, is you want people to keep coming to see your videos because you want to entertain them. You want them to enjoy what you're doing. So yeah, this is my thoughts. I don't think you're pigeonholed forever just because maybe you started out making Evercade. Maybe you started making out Intellivision Amico content, and then you shifted to, I don't know, entertainment or music or, a podcast or something like that, or other types of retro gaming. Maybe Evercade, maybe Atari VCS, whatever. You aren't doomed to stick with one thing just because that's what got you attention. Just because you made one video that did really well doesn't mean you're doomed forever to only make that type of video. Like I made a VHS video that was incredibly popular, most popular video on my channel. I still actually want to make some more VHS videos, but it has to be a video that makes sense, that's organic. Maybe I'll make a collection video, a VHS collection video. There's a few more VHS tapes I really want to get, but eventually I will make some more VHS videos. Maybe a top 5 most nostalgic VHS videos. There's so many things you can do, guys. There's just so many things you can do. Just because you started out your channel one way doesn't mean you can't go another way. But it just depends. Depends how big your channel is. I mean, if you've cultivated an audience, through nothing but like drama videos and stuff, guess what? If you do only drama videos, you're cultivating a really potentially toxic audience. to be honest. Honestly, if you're just using drama and that's the only way you're getting views and stuff, you're not going to get, it's like if you don't stop doing drama, well, guess what? All of a sudden that audience that only comes for, the car wreck is going to stop coming. So that's why you shouldn't try to cultivate an audience like that. You should cultivate an audience that's, based on, they're not looking for a car wreck. They're looking for something to entertain them beyond that, than cheap thrills, something to have a conversation about. People want to have a conversation with you in the comments section. Video, depends what kind of videos you want to make, what kind of content you want to focus on. But just because you started out with a certain type of content does not mean you are doomed to only make that kind of content or that you need to make a totally different channel. It just depends on the channel, depends how you want to approach it. But you have to be patient. You can't expect, I'm going to make all kinds of different random content and expect everyone to watch it who subscribe to you for a very specific type of video. Like maybe that content isn't for them, and that's not why they subscribe to you. But that's okay too, because maybe they'll subscribe to you for other videos you put out. You don't know. It's hard to honestly tell. But overall, yeah, I don't think people are pigeonholed just because they started out with a very specific kind of content. There's a lot of things you can shift to because there's a lot of different types of content that is adjacent to whatever niche or whatever thing you are making. But you also, again, have to look and realize what are people searching for, what audience needs to be served. And I think that's important. I think YouTube is about you, but it's also about me and it's about us. YouTube is never just about you or it's never just about me. It's about, the back and forth, the conversation that we have as content creators and audience members, all that stuff. It all plays into YouTube. YouTube's a big, complicated thing. And like I've said in the past, there is no one algorithm. There's many algorithms, and some people understand certain things better than others. And, looking for like stuff like, gaming trends, on YouTube, Google search, do Google search, man. I can't tell you guys enough how important that is. I'm realizing that now too, is like doing keyword research, because you don't want to just be trending or ranking on YouTube. You want to be ranking on Google as well as far as Google search, because that's going to drive traffic to your YouTube channel. That's something I wish I'd figured out, I don't know, like 9 years ago. So, but anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about, am I pigeonholed into this type of content? This is the kind of content I'm enjoying making, and if I decide to pivot to something else, I will pivot to something else, just like anything else. Because what if they stop making Evercade stuff? What if nobody's interested in Evercade? Well, then I'll pivot to something else. What if retro gaming just becomes something I'm not interested in? Then I'll pivot to something more nostalgic. We all have different options as content creators. And if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, yeah, I would highly recommend go for a niche that is an underserved audience, because that will help you, but you got to love that niche. You can't just be like, pick some random thing and expect people to take you seriously. You have to be, it kind of has to happen organically in some sense, but at the same time, look at people who are interested and look at what you're interested in talking about. So I guess this is sort of a YouTube advice video, I guess, but I didn't mean it to be. I mean, I got to talk about, can we, pivot away from things? Are we pigeonholed? But I guess this is becoming kind of a YouTube advice video. But anyways, what are your guys' thoughts? Are you in a niche and you want to pivot out of that niche? Are you somebody who's thinking about starting a YouTube channel and you're looking for a niche to get into? Comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay awesome in this universe. Thanks. Bye.